22-year-old Gretchen Godsell of Columbia Tusculum is learning a few things about growing up and going green.
Just kind of my life is changing, so might as well take on as much change as possible so that it's not as overwhelming. Just get it all over with.
She's living in her first apartment after graduating from Miami University last year. Though Gretchen has a bit more green than she did in college, she's trying to save some of that.
I think it's important to do that no matter how much you're making, not only for the environment, but because it's always good to save a little bit of money. I think it's important to just kind of adapt your lifestyle and kind of make it so that you can still live your life like you want to, but so that you're still helping the environment.
So Gretchen sought out a little extra help from a Green Irene eco-consultant. Ellen Hall spent an afternoon with Gretchen to help her greenify her life.
What a great old place you've got here.
Thanks, we like it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for having me here to do a green home makeover.
Yeah, we're excited.
Good.
Welcome. All right, well, should we head back that way?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, I'd like to start in the kitchen.
Okay, great. Kitchen's right this way.
I like to start in the kitchen because people tend to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and it's kind of the heart of the home. And you had mentioned before when we spoke on the phone that you like to do a lot of cooking too. So I thought it's also a great place. And there's some really energy intensive appliances in the kitchen. So if you're interested in saving money, which you said you were, then it's a great place to start in your apartment.
Great, sounds good.
Okay. So the refrigerator can be the biggest energy hog in the whole house, really. And goodness, that's an unusual setup for the refrigerator.
I noticed that when we moved in, the heat is right by it, which is not great, I know.
Obviously, as you would suspect, that's going to cause the radiator right next to the refrigerator is going to cause your refrigerator to work really hard.
Right.
So let's talk about a few things that you can do to help minimize that. It's an older refrigerator. You're in an apartment. You're not going to be able to get a new one.
Right.
Let's actually do that. But with the radiator here, what I might suggest doing is getting a radiator panel, which you can get at a hardware store, and just sticking it in between here so that it will reflect the heat away from the refrigerator. In the other rooms, you would put the radiator panel behind here because then it would reflect it back into the room. You could see if there's some instruction online about making your own or putting even just aluminum foil on the side of the refrigerator to see. But I know the radiator panels are designed specifically to do that. Some of the other things you might want to do is clean the seal around here because that can, if it's not tight, you're losing energy, and we can do a little test here to see how tight your refrigerator is. See, and that pulled out too easily. It should really be stuck or have a lot of resistance. So clean that, and again, if you were handy, you could maybe replace that. Your landlord's probably not. It's pretty stiff because it's old. But your freezer's got a lot of room in it that's empty. And so if you just fill some milk jugs with water, then that will, your refrigerator and freezer work more efficiently when they're full. So that will create that sense of fullness, and then it won't have to work as hard. Other thing is let your foods cool down before you put them in the refrigerator.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, you know what? That's going to release heat into your refrigerator.
Yeah,
if it's So those are just a few things you can do with the refrigerator. A lot of times you can get drafts through your electrical sockets. So an easy thing to do is to simply put an insulation gasket behind your switch plates. And these are pennies, and particularly on the exterior walls, they don't have to do. But you just stick it over the socket.
That's easy.
Like that, and then you're going to put that back on. And that is it.
Wow.
Yeah, and that will help reduce drafts. Now this one is pretty tight, so you don't have a lot of room. A lot of places you go, there is actual, like just a hole in your wall with that. The other thing you can do is to purchase the child-proof things for so that for children, but these are holes where
Yeah,
air can come through, and so it just blocks. And they have them in some different colors too, so if you're really concerned about it matching, or if you want clear or something like that, but that's a great way to plug up some air leaks in your exterior walls. In your situation where you're not paying individually for your water, it's harder to be conscious about that because it's not directly impacting your pocketbook. But there are certain things, obviously turning off the water when you brush your teeth is a great habit to get into. But we're going to measure the amount of water that's coming out of your faucet per minute. So what we'll do is I'll stick my bag in here, and I'll need you to give me a 10-second reading. Okay. So.
Okay, go.
Stop. Okay, so it's coming out higher than it needs to. So if you've got here at 5 gallons per minute, the simple thing you can do is change this aerator here, and you would get some WD-40 and maybe a wrench, and you can get aerators at the hardware store for $1 or maybe something like that, and you just screw that off, the old one off. It's got a lot of hard water deposits on it, so it might be a little tight. And then you put the new one on, and you can get them that are as low as a ½ gallon per minute. And I'm focusing on ways that you can save money by reducing energy and water use and some waste. But being green also includes thinking about what you're putting on your body. So at some point, we can talk about personal care products if you're interested in that kind of thing, because you do have to be kind of careful with that. And same with your cleaning products. I did notice on my way in that you did have
method cleaners.
Yes, yeah. So one way to save money is to make your own too, using vinegar, baking soda, and borax and hot water. But Method's a great start, and Green Irene has some great cleaners too. So let's go check down in the boiler room. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Right this way. And go down the back staircase. Yeah, okay. Basement's right down this way. We have all of our laundry down here as well.
Oh, great. So we'll talk about just a few things on laundry too.
Alright, so here's the...
So, since you really don't have much control, not even having a thermostat in your apartment, the boiler would be something that I could talk to your landlord about if she would be interested in hearing about some ways to improve efficiency. Being a renter, you have minimal control over, these are old appliances, you're just paying per wash. But, washing on full, doing full loads, using alternative things like lemon juice or baking soda or vinegar in there to help increase the power of your detergent is help. And you really can wash almost everything on cold now. If you have some bad allergies, you'll want to do your sheets on hot. But otherwise, most everything gets very clean in cold water, and that reduces the energy use for heating the hot water. And for your drying, you have a line here. You can take advantage of that, and you can use a drying rack in your apartment if you don't want to leave things down here.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm glad I was able to come, and hopefully you'll be able to put some things into action.
Yeah, I'll have to check out the earnings.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right.
For more information on how you can easily add a few green-friendly activities to your day, visit cincychic.com and check out the Greenify Your Life feature.